All right, we're back again. And this time we're going to talk about the Bodyguard 2.0. We've seen a lot of videos on it. We talk a lot about concealed carries. We will do a little bit of a side comparison. You can see our concealed carries that we currently have and compared to the Bodyguard, because neither one of us actually own the Bodyguard yet. But I'm going to admit right now, before we even get into it, I actually really like the Bodyguard for what it is. I never thought I would like a pocket pistol, or especially a 380. I am a 9mm person. But in this case, I kind of like it. There is some good and some bad. There's some things to watch out for, but we're going to get to that. We're going to switch camera angles, turn you over to Donnie, and he'll kind of walk through each gun that we have on the table, and we'll go from there. Go.
Hey everybody, it's Donnie from a different angle now. We're going to talk about the main star of the show, obviously the Bodyguard 2.0 here. Some of the things I like, comparison to our set of SIGs here, we got the SIG P365 and we got the SIG P320 M17. And then we also got the Smith Wesson SD9 VE. All great kind of, all around pistols. Some of them do specific jobs better than others, obviously, but yeah, it's really well set up overall. What I'm liking so far about these, we always check our weapons, make sure they're clear before we handle them, just to be safe. Just practice I like. But what I'm really liking about the SD9 or the Smith Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 so far is that it is a compact pistol that I can really take and get a full seated grip. I like to kind of lean my thumb forward here, kind of point it towards the target on my grips. And in a very compact frame, I'm able to get that full grip out here. And you can see that Smith & Wesson kind of already thought about that in advance. They've got some really nice kind of sandpaper texture stippling here that really helps you lock into that gun and control the recoil on target, which is a very nice feature to have. And then you do get, out of this small frame, you get up to 12 rounds of 380 ACP, which is pretty good in a very compact frame. In comparison here, that is what I'm getting out of my SIG 365, and you can tell this is one I use every single day, as you can see by the wear marks on the slide. One of the drawbacks to consider when you're looking at potential SIGs is their Cerakote finish is a little bit weaker than others, and that's been covered and reviewed by plenty of other channels out there. So pretty common experience. For me, not the biggest deal in the world as long as I'm not getting rust into that kind of stuff. It's more aesthetic than anything, and it is what it is. So out of these compact pistols, you get a little bit more everyday use out of them, just because it's something that you can put on your person and nobody really knows you have it if you use the correct holster and dress the right way. It's something you can have on you all the time. So being able to get 12 rounds of 380, which is currently with modern day ballistics, if you're running 380 plus P, you're getting relatively similar performance out of 9mm as well. So overall, ballistics on target, terminal ballistics, and everything else perform pretty similar. I don't think that you're really stepping down too much for most people's everyday use by running a 380 over a 9mm. There is some arguments to be made that in these subcompact frames, sometimes you can actually get more rounds, which is why you're able to see Smith & Wesson pull off a frame that is so small and still have pretty comparable high round capacity to a 365, which you can see here once we close these slides, that there is a pretty significant size difference, especially when you go ahead and stick that round or that magazine in. You get a little bit more overall with your slide print here. So you got a lot more surface area that is going into that, which can be helpful with recoil management, things of that nature. But when you're shooting a 380 round, recoil management is not a huge issue anyway, because it's a very small, not heavy recoiling round. So running something like that would be a phenomenal option. One thing we have noticed, though, there is one drawback, get into some of the negative complaints. For us, it's not the hugest deal in the world. It's quick, maybe 5-10 minute fix at the gun shop. But from the factory, Smith & Wesson themselves is even saying that these front sight posts come misaligned, just slightly skewed to the right, and you may be able to see it on the camera angle here or not, but it is just barely skewed to the right. A few taps with a hammer and a brass punch pin knocks it over, lines it right, and you can get it back on target running perfectly smooth for you all over again. Just takes little fine tuning and adjustment, but overall, that's really the only main thing that I've seen that I'm not really in love with this pistol. I think they did a very good job on the redesign on this. I'm really liking the grip texture here, and I like how the frame is large enough to really get full grip purchase, so you can manipulate this gun to the best of its ability and to the best of your ability, which leads into my final point on these. It doesn't matter what you carry. Always train with it. The best gun in the world is the one you can shoot reliably and accurately. And so get out there, get on the range, do your research, get your training in, and let's defend ourselves reliably and safely.
All right, we're back to our normal angle. Looks like I set the camera a little bit lower, but that's all right. Got to show this more than me. This is my concealed carry right now. I wanted to kind of throw in some of my personal final thoughts. The problem I'm having with this, it is pretty good sized. It is really easy to manipulate and adjust and everything like that. Like, it shoots great. I do love the gun. It's very reliable. It is a budget friendly gun. Also a reason why I like it. But it's just big enough to where if I wear it all day, it does start to rub. And this is the holster I'm using. I kind of wish I had maybe a leather or something like that. Kydex can be a little rough around the edges, especially as you're like me, who is retired from the military and gaining weight, not losing weight. So you can feel it a little bit more. The one main reason that I feel that this will be hopefully my next purchase for concealed carry is the compactness. Now and as you can see, empty. With this magazine in there, I don't have big hands, but it fits good. Now this is a pocket pistol, very light. Forget you're wearing it type weights to it. It is going to be a little bit snappy, even though it's a 380 versus a 9, especially if you put like a plus P, which I have to look into to see if this can handle it. Most new modern guns can. Plus P, you're pretty much the same ballistics as a 9 anyways. But this being as light as it is going to jump a little bit more, be a little bit snappier, but most people should be able to handle it without a problem. So I recommend it. Like I said, it's probably going to be my next purchase when it comes to concealed carry, because mine's getting to the point where it's hard for me to carry it all the time. It's just not very comfortable. But I do struggle because like his 365, the SIG makes a great one. Taurus GX4 is a complete another way of holding. Has a different type of grip setup, but it is very comfortable too. And the Hellcat. Of course, everybody knows about the 365, the Hellcats, but these other ones are kind of not as much. And the Hellcat, I like the trigger better, but there's some parts of the 365 I like better too. So it goes into kind of like our last video about custom guns. You got to pick and choose because you can't have it all. Mm-hmm. It's just some guns hold a little bit better. I do like a gun that when I first grab it, instantly I have a full grip right where I want it. And honestly, all those guns are the same in that sense. I have held some where you kind of almost grab real low on there, or it just doesn't quite feel right and you have to adjust your hand. That's my final thoughts on it. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
What I've noticed with the 365, this is the one I personally carry. Typically, there can be times if you're running the wrong holster setup or you're just dressed slightly off.
That's probably my problem.
Yeah. If you're just dressed slightly off of what you probably should be, this bigger slide, bigger overall print, it can show if you're not cautious with it. And so you really do have to kind of take those extra steps, maybe even a little more so than something like even your Hellcats, where I believe they have a slightly smaller width on their frame dimensions. So a little bit easier to conceal carry in that one. There's some drawbacks to anything you get into, and it's always something to consider. If you're, and then it goes back into what your needs are, what they consist of. Something like these, I would probably end up running more on a belt setup just because they are closer to that full size frame. However, what you get out of this in a full size frame is, 21 rounds of 9mm plus one in the tube. Always a good option to have. That's why I have both, is because they both have specific purposes. This one can hide in my belt, give me, 12 plus one. I believe even when you get into like the 365 macro or the Hellcat Pros, you get all the way up to 15 plus one or even 17 plus one. So a lot more comparability to like your full size frames, but you do lose your concealability out of that. So the way I've described it to a lot of customers, it kind of works almost like a triangle where you've got ammo capacity, you got accuracy, and then you've got concealability. And as you start to go in one direction on that triangle, you tend to pull away from the abilities of the other sides of that triangle. And that's kind of the way I'd like to think a lot of about it when I'm looking at what I'm purchasing.
Yeah, I have to agree. So this video is supposed to be more of a review of the Bodyguard, kind of turned into more of a review of concealed carry, which is good. We haven't done that video yet anyway, so we'll probably actually do more of those ones in the future, especially as we start doing the concealed carry classes and the beginner courses and the things that we tend to notice with newer shooters, because we all start in kind of the same area, but where it goes from there depends on the person. And so if once we start seeing more trends of certain things and what people are carrying, what people likes or dislikes, we'll make sure we keep updated on the videos in that area and kind of put that info out there for everybody. But hey, I appreciate it. Remember, like, subscribe, leave those comments, give us some more ideas in the future, and just to help us out. And we'll keep the videos coming. We'll try not to take long breaks like we just did. I'd like to call it a break, but it really wasn't much of a break on the work side. But life happens. So, and I do appreciate everybody sticking around. And yeah, until the next video.
Let us know what you want to see next.
Yep, I agreed. You guys have yourself a good one. Thanks.